Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave, and today we are going to make a new mount for my phone. We're going to talk about my phone mount, but how are we going to do that when the mount itself is what my phone is connected to? Well, through a little bit of film trickery. Hi everybody, Adam Savage in my cave, and yeah, this is the entirety of my tested camera rig. There it is. Actually, I don't even need that. There she blows. And this came about in early 2020 when the lockdown happened. We all went remote here at Tested, and then we had a Zoom meeting to figure out what we wanted to do. And Norm Chan came in and set up a camera in the corner of my cave, a video camera that takes SD cards, and he had a lavalier microphone that was attached to it, and I was supposed to take that lav and put it on my belt and record myself. And I looked at all that equipment and I was like, I can't. And that was a very early lockdown kind of move for everyone, I can't. And I looked at all that and I just didn't want to wrap my head around both building and telling stories and also operating this thing with all these parts. I know, I seem handy. At the same time, I only have a certain amount of bandwidth, and that camera was just not going to work. So I picked up my phone out of my pocket and I grabbed some lock line, and with a quick clamp and a phone clamp for the phone, I came up with this mount, and it has lasted these last 3 years just beautifully. I've definitely dropped the phone a few times, and you can see that my mount here has cracked, and I have fixed it with some small hose clamps. It is long in the tooth and in desperate need of replacement. And since Apple's just released a new phone, and well, actually, sorry, I do want to say this. None of what I just described would be possible if the cameras that are in phones today weren't sufficient for the stories we want to tell, and they totally are. It's kind of mind-blowing. It's actually completely mind-blowing how good those cameras are. And so, that's a value to us. The iPhone 14 just came out. We got a brand new one. That's what's in here. And I want to make a new stand for it. And our friends at OtterBox have sent some products to utilize. This is a MagSafe mount, and this is a drop-tested case that works with Apple's MagSafe system. So my goal here is to eliminate this clamp in favor of the MagSafe system. Yeah. And then I'm going to mount all that to some brand new 3/4 inch lock line that I have just received, and hopefully we'll wrap this video on my new stand. Yeah, very meta. Let's get started. Right, the other advantage of using the MagSafe system is I plan to make the cord actually travel inside the lock line so that it's self-charging. That's the goal. As it is, I often have a cord attached to the phone, and well, there are a lot of takes of me tripping over that cord and dragging the phone. So the phone is also in desperate need of some protection from me. All right, that is all of that stuff. Right, so that comes out. Right. Oh, that's wonderful. That's going to be great. Okay, now the case. I still have to open cases like I'm 12. This is wonderful. All right, this just goes in, right? Hold on, let's just double check that this doesn't come apart in some way that I don't know, but I think it's fine. Here we go. Yeah. You might wonder why I'm going with such a bright color. The fact is, I actually lose the phone in the shop all the time.
That should get me where I need to go and get some follow. Here's the camera. There you are. Hi.
Even connected to this stand, I lose the phone all the time because I'll be holding it to film myself, and then I'll put this down, and frankly, it can really disappear. So I thought the lime green would be a nice workaround to make sure that I can see it. This is great. I was a little worried that it wouldn't hold it with enough gription, but that's just fantastic. Yeah, that's, yep. This will go in here like that. Ooh, look at that. That looks like we even know what we're doing here. Oh, I have a really good idea for that too. And then the cord comes out of here and will come in there and come out the bottom. Okay. Oh, right. I also have a brand new feature for this, which is this has been my clamp up till now. And I used this clamp because it actually had the lock line attachment already to it, because this was for some other kind of clamp, which I can't remember right now. But this is fine, but I'll tell you the one thing this doesn't connect to is this workbench, because it's like 3.5 inches thick. I clamp it in the vise, but then I don't have that vise accessible. So I am switching to our friend Irwin's clamp so that I can grab the table and not have anything in my way. So in addition to attaching the lock line and solving that problem, I'm also going to have this attaching here in some way that's nice and positive, and then, yeah, the cord will come out of that with some strain relief. That's the plan. Okay. I guess it doesn't really matter if it comes out of there. Yeah. Yeah. This thing, they've done a really nice, I love these little vent clamps for your car. It is not necessary for me for this build, but, yeah, so let's see if I can pull out one of these. Thing about lock line is it's hard to separate. There we go. Okay, so, right. It is about where it starts. So that would be the bottom and that would be the top. So that, right. I think what I want to do here is a really interesting one. I think the best way to get a positive grab between this and the lock line. Ooh, Phillips screws. I think the best way to join this plastic part from the otter mount to my lock line is resin, actually. And I will show you what I'm thinking. I'm putting the screws back in. And this, do I want to, right, so that's going to be the top. It's got to come up all the way. Right, okay, so if that comes up to there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some quick-set resin. I think I've got some black onyx. I'm going to tape this up and pour it into here to join these two parts to each other, and then they will be one single part. It's great. Okay, now I want to seal this edge. If stuff spills out, that would be bad. I've got some gel CA glue here. Gel CA glue is rocking my world lately. Giving me a lot of structure to play with. Oh, it's great. And this will keep any resin from leaking out. And this is old resin. It's not going to be pretty, but it doesn't matter. What is old resin? Well, old resin is usually, it's old because well, how do I say this? It's old because it's been around a while. What happens when it's been around a while is that it absorbs a little water. And when resin absorbs a little water, it becomes foam. It's actually, I think, how they make foam urethane resins is they add specifically precise amounts of water to it, but it's hydroscopic. It absorbs water. So technically, each time you use Instacast resin, you should be putting a little, technically every time I use Instacast resin, I should be putting a little nitrogen in there before closing it up, and I do not follow those best practices, and then I end up with a gallon left of resin that's not amazing for casting. But that's fine because it's great for this that I need. And I'll actually bring a mold over in case I have some extra material, and that'll allow me to use what extra I don't need and also see how quickly it's setting. Here we go. Yeah, that. Sure. Why not? Yeah. All right. I'll tell you one thing you should never do with old resin is pour it all together to kick it. Don't do that. It's bad mojo. You can get a highly exothermic reaction from lots of resin being mixed together. Don't ask me how I know. All right, here we go. I'll do 6 ounces total. So we'll do 2 batches of 3. 1, 2. That's way more than we need, but. Now again, remember I've always said casting materials have a plus or minus of like 10% and they'll still work just fine. So you don't have to be slavishly perfect on your distribution. But now I want this to, hold on, let's just make sure that, yeah. That looks good all around. Okay, so now I want this to stand up. Great. I know I pour these resins together, but they're not going to do anything until I actually start to stir them. So here we go. I am going to stir them. Boy, I mixed way too much. Well, I'm also kind of curious how good this resin might actually be. If it's good, I may throw some castings in. So your best practice for mixing resin like this is to count to 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I usually do like 30 mixes, making sure I'm scraping the sides and the bottom. You don't want to end up with any unkicked parts, and there can also be unkicked resin on your popsicle stick or tongue depressor. Okay, so I can already feel like it's heating up, so we're going to pour a little bit in here. Let's see if we get any leakage. We don't. And that should be all that I need for that to work. Please don't leak. Please don't leak. Okay, we're going to pour some here. This is one of the little shoulder details from the alien spacesuit. There we go. Yeah, so you'll see this kick, and it literally is like science fiction. What's happening is the two parts, when mixed together, cause a temperature reaction, an exothermic reaction. That exothermic reaction creates, it actually causes the chemistry to change. The heat creates a chemical reaction inside that causes these polymer chains to lock to each other. And I can visualize this, I can see this, it'll tell me, but you can see how this is getting bubblier. Yeah, so that's what's happening. That's the heat building up. And if you looked at this in a thermal camera, right now I can tell you it's about, yeah, it's probably just about like 110 degrees Fahrenheit, not that much. But yeah, when you mix a lot of it together, it can get quite hot. In fact, when you want extra time, because this stuff will kick inside of the next like few seconds. When you want extra time, I have in the past put Instacast in the fridge so that it came out at a lower temperature. Yeah, you can see it's looking like beer. Boy, if I had to make it look like beer, and you see that foam, that's the water content. That's me not taking good care of my casting materials. All right, I'm just gonna keep on going here, and you can see, yeah. If it was fresh Instacast, you wouldn't see all that foaming. It would just be clear, and then all of a sudden it would start to go white, and you'll see that happen here. I can't stop messing with it because I'm impatient, but I think I can pull these apart. still not getting any leakage around that, so I'm very pleased. That should work beautifully. Oh, there it goes. So it just went from clear to not clear. And the reason that looks different than that is because there's more of it here. It's creating a higher temperature reaction. That's going to be slower, and that's going to be the slowest of all because it's the smallest amount. Again, the amount of thermal, the temperature change is dictated by the volume of the material. So now you can see that this stuff is super thick. It's like an oatmeal foam. And then 1 second later, boop. Yeah, Instacast is like science fiction. That threading, I am going to say that that is that's a 3/4 inch NPT thread. All right, it's a 3/4, yeah, it's a 3/4 16. Is that right? Oh, wait a minute. Nope, I'm wrong. It's not 3/4. Yeah, I think this is more like it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is it. It is a 3/4 inch. I'm right? 3/4 inch 14 NPT. Yes, that's what it is. I was right. I just didn't trust myself. So there's that and that. What is the drill bit for that? What is the tap drill for a 3/4 inch NPT 14 thread?
From practicalmachinist.com. Simplifying a bit, with an ordinary tap, the tap drill is the minor diameter and the tap cuts away everything between that and the major diameter of the thread.
I understand the philosophy. I was looking for the actual number, but sure, okay. Based on what you've just said, let's do this. Right, so I'm measuring on the inside of the thread with the blades of my calipers, and that is 0.96. I would go to 0.95. Let's see what I have here in that regard. 0.9531, 61/64. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. And now, if I want to drill that and tap that to that, I want to do this out of some Delrin. This is all the offcuts of Delrin plastic. Look at that. Yummy. All right. That could do. Yeah. That's already got this hole in it, which doesn't matter for this. So what I could do here is I could have this go from there to there, and then something like that, right? A sort of a T shape where I thread into the end, and then I use bolts to hold that onto this guy. That seems pretty straightforward. I'd sand that a little bit flatter on the disc sander. Yeah, I'm gonna use that because it's a nice scrap. Sure. I'm going to find the center. Back jaw. That's a 0. Front jaw. And half that. Great. There's my center. Give or take. Out. Ooh. There. That's going to be about the center. Here's a fun game. I know where center is on this, so I'm going to mess it up. And I'm going to see how close I can get to center by eye. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to bring this right down. Ugh, that's a tough one. All right, I think I'm really close. I'm going to check my data. 50 thou. I'm 50 thou off. That's 10 sheets of paper. That's more than I wanted. Tighten. Pull up that. Yeah, that guy's not going to get interrupted. So, yeah. There we go. Oh. Now, without changing anything, yes, I'm going to take this bit out. Out. Oh yeah, I do have to still go. Now, these Deming bits, these big fat drill bits, they can cause lots of chatter, so I tend to run them slower. Doing this one at 1400. Oh, great. You don't want it to get too hot. So, yeah, that, well, I'll show you this. What you heard there, that was the hole that's going through this. Again, mechanically, it doesn't really matter. And I like using scraps like this when I can. Seriously? Okay. Well then, this is a bigger tap wrench than I have a tap wrench for. It's a bigger tap than I have a tap wrench for. So we're going to go on this business. To make this tap perfectly centered over that hole, I'm going to use a easy little trick that's built into the tap. The bottom of the tap has this conical hole drilled in it. That is for receiving that and making sure that it's perfectly centered above the hole. Now I know that it is exactly where I want it to be, and that means that the threads will be traveling perfectly vertically. I could, actually, because I want the pressure here, I am doing that, right? Yeah, because I want the pressure here. I'm slowly bringing this down at the same time as I'm turning this. If I didn't do it, it would drop below it, and I want that pressure because I want it to be cutting. And this keeps it centered. Yeah. And I'm just keeping a constant down pressure on this. This also works in your drill press if you had to, as long as your vise is, you know, clamped to the table. Oh, just at the bottom. I want to continue through the bottom just a little bit because these pipe threads are all tapered. They're not perfectly vertical. They're tapered to elicit the best possible seal against leakage. But I don't need that seal because, again, this is a mechanical, not a pressure connection. We can just now should be able to, yeah, twist that out. And before I move anything, I can't stress this enough. Don't move anything until you've double-checked all your persuasions. So, that means test fitting, that I haven't somehow screwed up in a major and abiding way. And that seems like it's freaking fantastic. It's getting a little tight there. Let's see here. I think I want to go just a little bit deeper. With pipe threads, when you're doing this kind of mechanical thing, it's always a little bit of a sort of creeping up on it kind of moment. By that I mean, you know, I know that it. Thank you, Norm. I know that mechanically I'd like it to go all the way to the bottom. And so it's just about like, running this a few times until, and actually, yeah, you're not going off axis. That's great. Once you've really got like a bunch of threads already started, you can eliminate that. But for these big threads, man, it's really good just to make sure. You'd be amazed at how far off axis you can get with threads like this. Beauty. Oh, look at that. Ooh, I nailed it. It's just slightly tight right there. That's great. Okay, so I want to go one more. That's it, just to there. And we're gonna, center finder goes there. That goes there. This comes here. Great. Oh yeah, let's go up in speed. Oh, great. Excellent. Oh, I love machining Delrin so much. Truly the king of materials. Delrin is a brand name. The chemical name is acetyl. Man, I loves me some acetyl. Okay, so we have our piece there. So the hole I was talking about, there it is. You can see it right there. Again, that was through the piece of scrap I had, and mechanically it doesn't really matter to this build, so I'm really pleased with what I got there. I can soften some of those edges. Oh, I hate nylon. Don't get me wrong, I like nylon. Nylon. All right. I like nylon as a material. I have no problems with nylon on a personal level. I just find nylon tends to get a little too hot and sticky and melty. So my solution is I'm going to go much slower. And this is the way to deal with nylon is 500 RPM. Let's go with 1,000. All right. And this is how you get nylon to cooperate. You go slowly. Yeah. Okay. All right, nylon, you've been brought back. Oh, very lovely. Yes. Yes. So now I want, yes, I'm going to need a vise right behind you. And then, Manhattan Phillips. 832s, can I do that? Yes, I can. And I've got them in stainless, and I like that, so I'm going to use those. Oh, I've actually even got some better ones that are, wait. Yeah, small. I like the warmer look of stainless steel sometimes for builds. Oh, and if you need 4 screws, always pull out 5. Again, if this was for like an outside client, I'd probably be doing this whole pattern on the mill and drilling these on a drill press. But again, mechanically, it's not that necessary. My binding system here is a little overkill, so it'll be fine. What I am gonna do though, is I'm not gonna start all 4 of these. I'm gonna start 1. And then I'm gonna do the others. That is an 832 tap. We use oil even on plastic. That is threaded, and now I need the a through hole for that, which would be 1/6. Yeah, the 1/7. There we go. 11/64. Now we go back to the tap drill, and we drill the other 3 holes. And then I pull out that screw. I drill the tap hole in each one. Sorry, I thread each one. Now, that should all join together really nicely. I start all 4 before I tighten down any. Yeah. And I could use washers on these, but again, with 4 of these screws holding this in, I don't really think it mechanically needs it. Yeah, it might actually. You know what? That will help. Washers are good. They simply pass on some of the, the washers pass on some of the mechanical load, and that's a good thing. Oh, I won't be able to get a second washer in there because it's too tight. But wait a second. These are aluminum, so I can slice them. Excellent. Okay. That's it. Oh, right. There we go. Yeah. Okay, great. Yay! That's the first part. Okay, so now, so this is another sign that your Instacast has water in it, is that after it kicks, it rises. This stuff isn't fully boned yet because I got a nice smooth casting out of there. What is this part? This is actually the weird sink drain thing that sits on the shoulder bells of the Kane alien spacesuit from Alien. Yeah, I machined this many years ago. But that also means that this part is mostly finished and it is nice and solid. That is fantastic. Yeah, that's great. So now I have a way of mechanically attaching, this is wonderful, the lock line to that. And now I need to be able to get the cable in there. So let's pry off another piece. I definitely feel like this is an optimal length, and I'm going to go with it again. Oh, I went a little short. There we go. So and that's the bottom, right? And then this would be the top. I just want to make sure that still operates. Brilliant. And it does. And I can remove it. It's all great. The way I'm using the resin is not like a glue. It is more like mechanically it fills both parts and grabs. And I really think that should be a nice, positive relationship. I guess if I really wanted to make perfectly doubly sure, I could drive an 832 screw right through there, and I am going to. Go, see, the drop in here is straight, which means this could undo itself because there's no undercut. So yeah, we'll just do this. Drilling towards your flesh, always a good idea. Yeah, I can actually feel it moving a little bit. So this is definitely the right idea. This just means in like 6 months, when these two different disparate materials, the Instacast and whatever reinforced nylon or ABS the lock line's made from, start working each other apart, they won't be able to separate because they've got a mechanical dealy bob there. Okay. And that runs nicely through there. Oh, right. This is the one I'm using. That is a lot. Yeah, it's definitely easier to feed it in one direction than the other. The question is, can I receive it over here? And again! Maybe. Come on. Right? Look at that. Okay, so now that all moves just beautifully. And am I right length? I am. Okay. So then this, yes. Okay, so I really want to get rid of this thing. And then, oh, right, there's one other thing, strain relief. So if this lives here, if this connects to that and connects to that and connects to that, that's about how much strain relief I need. And I'm going to tie a knot here for that strain relief. Great. Now I've got a little extra material in there. It's going to come out through, yeah, that, and then that knot will sit against, yeah. There we go. Ooh. Yep, threads have started. Oh, dude, it's the camera rig of my dreams. See, now it can grab out to there, right? I can even grab my whole vise. Just put that anywhere. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay. Let's see. This will go to a charger over there. Okay, moment of truth. Here we go. And look at that. It's charging. Yeah, dude. So let's get the camera up. Yeah, there we go. Oh, you want to slate between those? Here you go. That's it. Way better, way better. Such an improvement. And now I've got a backup. This is, let's run this through one more pace. So for the most part, I don't usually have it charging simply because I move around a lot and the battery life on these phones is insane. So for the most part, I charge at the end of the day, but it's really nice to have the option because it comes up all the time. So I'm going to unplug this and we're just going to pretend I'm moving over to the mill. Okay, let's head over here. I'll grab here. Take a look. And that's a lot more positive than the other one. Yeah, that's great. I could even do a piece to camera where I come over here and pop it in, and that is like that's a move I haven't done before. Not a move in my repertoire. So for those keeping track at home, that is an iPhone 14 sitting in an OtterBox Symmetry Series Plus case on a wireless charging car mount. Thank you guys for joining me for thank you guys for joining me for this one-day build. I'm Adam and I will see you next time.